Now we're going into the logical text or logical conclusion of the text. It's really important that you take these pieces of the puzzle and put them together, and these pieces will create a picture, right? Like a puzzle. And so you're an investigator. You have these pieces, and we need to show you what the answer is. So we're going to read the question first. Which choice most logically completes the text? Cool, right? So let's read the text, because I like to read. I don't like skipping around. I mean, really, can you really skip around anymore? Although military veterans make up a small proportion of total population of the United States, they occupy a significantly higher proportion of jobs in the civilian government. One possible explanation for this disproportionate representation is that military service familiarizes people with certain organizational structures that are also reflected in the civilian government bureaucracy, and this familiarity thus. Okay, there you go. So let's just take these little pieces together, right? Military veterans occupy a significantly higher proportion of jobs in the civilian government. And one reason for this is because the military service familiarizes people with certain organizational structures that are reflected in civilian government. So we can assume that, well, because the civilian government reflects organizational structures found in the military, then it attracts former military servicemen. So how can we conclude this text? Answer A, this familiarity. And what is this familiarity? In the Greek, right? It represents or reflects organizational structure. Answer A, it makes civilian government jobs especially appealing to military veterans. Well, does it? Well, I would say yes, it does. And how does it do that? Well, because that the organizational structure in the civilian government is similar to the military service structure. And because of that, these men or women apply for civilian or government jobs. There's a high number of them. So we can assume that the civilian government jobs are appealing to military veterans because they are familiar in structure. Some people told me answer B alters the typical relationship between military service and career preferences, but we're not talking about relationships. We're not talking about career preferences, what they like and what they don't like. We're talking about why they choose civilian jobs. C, it encourages non-veterans applying for civilian government jobs to consider military service instead. Problem here is we can't actually assume anything about non-veterans. It's off topic. We're talking about veterans right now, and we're not discussing non-veterans. And there's no piece that tells us it would encourage non-veterans. Maybe it wouldn't encourage them. Maybe it would discourage them. Well, you don't know that. D, increases the number of civilian government jobs that require some amount of military experience to perform. Again, we're not talking about military experience will help you in experience in civilian governments. What we're talking about is how civilian government organizational structure is similar to military organizational structure. And because of that, former servicemen are attracted to civilian government jobs. Answer is A.